Hello everyone, I am Adrenaline the Bazooka Prophet, right? CEO and Adrenaline Global Online Tutorial Platform. Now if you are just watching this video for the first time, do well to watch our previous video. This video is a continuation of our previous video that we actually treated in the re-question that was given to them yesterday in WAEC 2026 chemistry for the part 1 for the set 1 student that wrote yesterday, which is the 20th of May 2026. Now the next question says, from your results and the information provided, calculate the concentration of potassium hydroxide in B in mole per dm cube, as you can see on your screen, right? So let us solve it together. Now, in solving this question, what were we given? Now, the formula that we're to use is basically CAVA over CBVB is equal to NA over what now? NB. Now, from what you were given your CA to be what now? 0.100 mole per dm cube. You were given your VA, which we got as our endpoint, to be 24.50 cm cube. The volume of the base is 25.0 cm cube, and we are looking for the concentration of the what now? Potassium hydroxide in mole per dm cube. So what do we actually do here? Since the NA and NB from the equation was 1:1, so it's good. So it can now be that my CAVA is equal to CBVB, because the NA and the NB is 1:1. So it will just cancel out. I'm having CAVA equal to CBVB. Now we'll make this CB the subject of the formula by saying CB is equal to CAVA over what now? VB. So that my CA is 0.100 multiplied by VA 24.50 cm cube, then over 25.0 cm cube. So let us 0.1 multiplied by 24.50 give me 2.45 divided by 25. The final answer for this particular question will give me 0.0980 mole per dm cube. This is the final answer to the question BI. So we have to move straight away to the second question, which is the concentration of potassium hydroxide in B in gram per dm cube. So now let's solve this question together. Now remember, right, that concentration in gram per dm cube is equal to the concentration in mole per dm cube multiplied by the molar mass. Now, since the molar mass of B, which is the potassium hydroxide, we're given potassium is 39 plus oxygen is 16 plus hydrogen is 1. So when you add it up, you should be having 56 gram per mole. So if I'm looking for my concentration now in gram per dm cube, it will be equal to the concentration in mole per dm cube that we got was 0.0980 multiplied by the molar mass of the potassium hydroxide is 56, which will now be equal to 5.488 5.488 gram per dm cube. This is the final answer to the question in the BII. So we'll move straight away to the next question. Now, to calculate for the percentage impurity in B is simple. Now, remember that you were given the gram per dm cube of the impure potassium hydroxide, which is you have 6 gram per dm cube impure, right? It's impure potassium hydroxide, but we actually got the actual pure mass of the potassium hydroxide, which we got to be 5.49 pure potassium hydroxide. So to get for the mass impurity to be equal to the 6 gram per dm cube minus the 5.49, right? What now? 0.51 gram per dm cube. Now the percentage impurity will therefore be equal to 0.51 divided by 6.0 multiplied by 100, which will give me 8.5%. We have what? 8.5%. This is the percentage impurity of the potassium hydroxide, which is in B of potassium hydroxide. The next question, which says calculate the amount in moles of ethanoic acid in the average volume of A used. Very, very simple. So how do we go about it? Let's go. Now remember that the amount in moles will now be number of mole is equal to the concentration multiplied by the volume over 1000, right? Because the volume that we were given was already in cm cube, which is 24.50 cm cube. Now it will now be equal to the concentration is 0.1 multiplied by the VA is 24.50 divided by what now? 1000. Okay, when you multiply, you divide, you should have it to be 0.00245 moles. 245 what? Moles. So we have nothing for the number 4. The last question here for what we were given for this year was number of water molecules formed in the reaction. Number of water molecules formed in the reaction. Now, to solve for the number of water molecules formed in the reaction, we write the equation again, which is CH3COOH now you are looking for the number of water molecules formed in the reaction. Now do not forget that the ratio here is 1:1:1:1, right? If I'm having 0.00245 moles for 1 mole of ethanoic acid, then the number of water molecule 2 should also be what now? So the number of water molecule will also give me 0.00245 what moles. So what do we now do? Remember that number of mole is equal to the number of particle over what now? Avogadro's what number. And since I'm looking for my number of particle, to the number of particle is equal to the number of mole multiplied by my 6.02 times 10 raised to 23. Now the number of moles I have obtained because of 1 mole of ethanoic acid connected to water it will give me 0.00245 multiplied by what now? the Avogadro's what number. So when you multiply, right, your final answer 1.4749 times 10 raised to power what 21 what now molecules. That is just the final answer to this question. And this marks the end of this particular video. Do well to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you engage in marathon study. I wish you success in your other papers that you are writing. God bless you.